Thank you. Good morning. Sounded like almost an empty room. One more time. Good morning. Let's get some more energy. All right. So, I have the pleasure to kick off the second day with a keynote. And a few words about me. I'm Radoslav Nikolov, currently Managing Director of SAP Alliance Bulgaria. I started in the software industry more than 20 years ago. I've worked as a software engineer, and I've worked in a few companies. I was doing some freelance work in a startup. And for the last 6 years, I'm also managing the local engineering side of SAP. I had the pleasure and honor to be doing a keynote at the second edition of ISTA, and now the next time it's right here today. If I will be coming up again on ISTA, depends on how quality session I do today and depends on you as my audience. So let's keep it up. The session, I was thinking a lot what to talk about, and I wanted to talk about something which will be more or less timeless, something that was valid in the past, something that is valid now, and something which will be valid in the future. And more concrete and more to the point topic than the relevance, right? But relevance we will see in what aspects. And I'll take you through some sort of a few historical points of software engineering for the last 20, 25 years. And we take it from there to understand what relevance I mean about and what exactly relevance is playing into our path of success. So to start, some 20 plus years ago, in the software industry, it's been really the Wild West times of software engineering. And when I say these words, all or nothing or everybody, please bear with me that it's like more often in most of the companies, right, or in rare of the people, in rare of the companies. So it's always been the case that there are exceptions to that rule. But let's say in these times, we developers were developing like crazy. We were producing code like hell every day in enormous amounts, and there wasn't much testing. I don't know if many of you remember these times. We've been testing some happy paths, and that was it. But that was all we needed to do. On one hand side, we didn't have much knowledge at that time because anybody in university, still in university, with some sort of ideas and knowledge about software engineering and programming was able to be hired and start working. Sound familiar for these days, but these days are a little bit different. And in the past, the companies into this middle of the dot-com boom, lots of companies wanted to have something into the digital space. They wanted to have a website or some more complex product, and they were paying lots of money just to get them going because they were lacking on the competition. Therefore, that was the demands. They wanted fast, short-living project, and this is what the supply was all about. So they've gotten something that was working in a happy path. Perhaps few users, concurrent users, will be still okay to use the system. If more are on it, perhaps the system will stop working immediately. And then what happened? So times changed, right? After a few years, first of all, the dot-com boom was gone. So it was a total burst. Companies, of course, kept believing that with software, this will be the transformational path of their competition and competitive edge, which means they, of course, needed to continue investing into software to get their businesses going and be much more competitive. The competition of the software engineering side as well grew up, so lots of more and more companies was getting into space, and we became much more diligent, much more system-oriented, much more process-oriented, how we engineer software, how we develop, how we ensure the quality, how we then deliver it to customers, how we support it afterwards, and so on. The products became much bigger and much more long-standing in time, which means we needed to make sure we're able to support those products. We needed to extend those products and need to kind of bug fix them and also ensure that there are less and less points of time when we have regressions. Therefore, we started testing. Natural thing, right? We started automating testing. We started having suites, investing into testing suites, and so on, So something about ISTA has to do with testing, isn't it? So these were one of the times when ISTA was born as well, a bit later than these times I'm talking about. The companies invested much more in management. So in the beginning, this was more or less project manager. We were always focused to deliver and not much on the people. We started being much focused on the people, on the talent, how we attract talent, how we develop talent, how we retain talent in order to gain the most. HR as a function started coming up. It wasn't much back then popular. Furthermore, going a few years in the future, so we've adopted lean and agile principles coming up from the car manufacturer. So we were focused on the agility. We wanted to have this flexibility to respond to the ever-growing demands from the customers. Customers didn't want to have something in 1 year or in 2 years. They wanted to have something in a few months or a few weeks. And nowadays, it's a few days. So we needed to respond to that. Therefore, the whole industry started more or less adopting these principles and more or less shifting more and more responsibility to the same team. In the past, we were having development engineers, we have quality engineers, we have support engineers, and each of these groups was having pretty clear boundaries. What's my work? I did the coding, please do the testing. I did the testing, we do the delivery, please do the support. And none of these, or in rare cases, they were really collaborating that much with each other. With these times, with Lean and Agile, we needed to bring it back to the same team. Developers started to do much more testing. Of course, not everything, but they were much more responsible for what they deliver. And I will make it clear throughout the whole presentation, but let me start with here. I believe software engineering, software development is much more creative work than anything else. It's an art that we do. But it's not less creative work on the quality side. It needs certain level of creativity to design and create a software product, which is unique by itself. It is same level of creativity you need to break it, isn't it? Imagine hackers, how they are able to hack a black box system. It needs a certain level of creativity, imagination, and much more. So, moving on, till today. Today, the software industry is driving any innovation in the world. Basically, any innovation in this dynamically changing world is being driven by and influenced by technological innovation. Any technology innovation in the technological space is covered by some sort of software, therefore some software innovation. We, as a software engineering industry, are in the center of the digitalization and the digital transformation of all the industries across the world, and this is here to stay, and this is here to have some more marvelous times in front of us, sometimes unthinkable what the future will bring to us. On the other hand side, we live in a very, very open world in terms of software. Lots of open source frameworks, components are out there, lots of platform services, programming languages, programming models to choose from. As developers, we'll be able in minutes, in hours or a few days to set up our system of choice and leverage everything that is available and start immediately focusing on the value for our product that we have in mind or the customers that we have in place and its demanding days. And the presentation was gone. I still have time. Anyway, I continue talking without it. Putting more on that, there were lots of solutions since years which are able to instrument your coding and really make sure that you are regression-free, or at least you will have the monitors up when some regressions are popping up in your coding, without doing much, right? We have all the instrumentation of continuous delivery development and so on. We have all the means nowadays to be much faster doing in a quality way software engineering. Everything mobile, everything cloud means everything needs to be running already now, and any regressions, any downtimes are very critical. Lots of customers, lots of users, millions, hundreds and hundreds of concurrent users, millions of users using systems every day. This is definitely needing some way different approach of doing software engineering than what used to be in 20, 25 years ago. And the last things to mention on these aspects, so we have created platforms or tools which are focused on the low code or no code for the end users. So customers want to kind of change the systems they've received from the software companies on their own. It will be free, it will be faster. They have some small adaptations here and there. I personally believe for some set of scenarios that make sense, but not entirely. Remember, this is a creative work. Imagine you have some famous artist and you bring a masterpiece to somebody and you give them a brush and a paint. You can do certain adaptations, it will be a masterpiece. But if you need to recreate it or create something that you imagine, it will need some talent, right? It will need some creative work. It's not a piece of cake. And the last thing, DevOps. And DevOps has been a term that has had different definitions or different understandings, but in a way that we bring way more responsibility and accountability to the engineering teams, combining all the roles, software developers, quality, operations. So the same team will do the engineering stuff, will ensure its quality, will deliver it and operate it for the customers, and this will be rolling. Furthermore, so what I've been telling you through this story is about the success factors. We were always successful in these times, from the cowboy times till today, because we were relevant to what was the industry needing from us. We were relevant for the competition in the software space, so we were successful, and we kept growing. We didn't stay there. Imagine now, can somebody from these cowboy times come into nowadays and work in a company? It will be probably a month, and it will be, he or she will be gone or be very much challenged. Imagine a company working that way nowadays in this industry. Would not be possible to live too long. Imagine nowadays to start a software project without considering what's out there already available as commodity in different open source projects and so on, and develop everything yourself. You can do it, but it's not sustainable. Definitely not. So this is the relevance. We were relevant for the time, but the time changes, and I'll be talking more and more about going further. Then what's next? Can these artificial intelligence stuff, machine learning, or robots be replacing us as developers? Could be, but I will come to that later. So first of all, let me kind of bring you a model. So time and professional value model. And this is sort of a chart of a personal growth. And think about it, first of all, it's exemplary. It's not mine. Think about it as a way, this is a combination of all the skills, all the capabilities we have as, let's say, engineers working in the software industry. And it's by intention done like stairs. So this could present like year over year, different capabilities that we are gaining, and we are growing and able to bring at least more value to our company, to our employers. Would such a person be successful? Any guesses? Probably. It looks like going up. But in order to be sure if this person is successful, we should know relevant to what is successful. If these are the employer expectations, so we need to make this comparison. What is the employer, the company expecting from us, from this role, from this person in the corresponding team and projects? So if the expectations ideally of the company are below or not above of what we have as value, absolutely, we will be successful. If we have such areas where the company is expecting more that we are able to give back, well, we have trouble, right? If this period of time being under the expectations of the company become too long, what happens? Well, not good things are happening. It's a low performance in most of the people in these cases will be out of their job at least. They might be in the same company, but not on what's expecting on this particular role. And by the way, as I've been having throughout the years some discussions with my colleagues, so these kind of stairs is what really the companies are paying and increasing the salaries for. It's the increased value that we can be bringing year after year. For the job well done, we get the bonus. But if we are expecting something more, we need to be able to give something more. Therefore, we need to keep growing. Therefore, also the company expectations are growing as well. This is normal. Where's the industry? The industry is also playing part into that. So the industry standards are changing all the time. Remember these examples from the Wild West times till today. So the industry normally will bring some way more standards by default activities, capabilities, knowledge, and so on. So they'll be pushing companies to go up that standard, at least not below it. If it's too long time a company is below the standard, what will happen? The company is outdated. The company will not sustain. Companies will furthermore influence us, the employees, the developers, the engineers, the quality guys and operators, so on, to be performing on a different level. So the success factors will be there will be a constant process of us setting us in front of us goals, clarifying what approach we will have towards these goals, and putting massive action in order to achieve those goals. It's on every stair. And if things doesn't work, think about your approach again and again do a massive action. So if you just know it or you wish for a change or wish for a state or position or role, it will not going to happen if you don't put action into this. It's the action what makes the difference. It's the action that it's what you do. It's what will make you successful. Not is what you wish for, and it's not what you're waiting for, and all of a sudden it happens by surprise. Okay, some years back, probably almost 10, and now the curve is a little bit more smooth, just to be easy consumable. So we were talking with a colleague, okay, we are growing as professionals, but can we grow forever? Can this go indefinitely? Or is there kind of a line where we converge to it? We cannot really cross at that level. And the colleague of mine then said, okay, could it be this incompetence level? So you cannot be really going further. I would rather nowadays call it the ultimate comfort zone. So anything we can learn and achieve throughout all that path of career and personal growth, it's outside of our comfort zone. Think about it. If it's something that you want to become, it's in your comfort zone, you already have it. So it's outside of your comfort zone, anything, any new skill, any new experience, anything new that you want to be, you want to become. Therefore, we were pushing our comfort zone throughout all these kind of, let's say, years or months, and we were growing. But that was an easy comfort zone, let's say, and we were kind of converging to our ultimate level, where we call it the ultimate comfort zone. What it means that in the same team, in the same project, in the same company, you might be kind of reaching a peak where you'll not be able to go above it. But is there more? And okay, if the company expectations are according to that, you're still okay, right? You're adding value, you're valuable. I'm not saying you're not in these cases. But perhaps if there's some new role that you want to be having, and there's always a new role, a new career path, same company, by the way, where the employer expectations will be much higher. Naturally, it's a new role. You need something new, new skills, new approach, new attitude, a bit more maturity, you name it. So how we cover that value gap? We might not be able to achieve it with the same tools and same day activities we were doing. Therefore, we need to address it from another angle. We need to do something else. Might be even something in the personal life as experience that we can bring here. And I'll give you an example. When I started software engineering and starting learning at the university, I was quite an introvert person. And looking back, it wouldn't be easy or possible at all that I'm becoming even a manager without the communication skills, collaboration skills, presentation skills, and so on. But luckily enough, I started, I'm connecting it now, right, looking it backwards. It wasn't that much intentional back then. But I started doing some university work. So I became an assistant, so-called assistant professor, or assistant to a professor, more precisely, in the university. So I started teaching classes, doing exercises with groups of 10, 15 people. It was an easy kind of and small jump to a bigger audience, and I needed to present, I needed to perform. It wasn't easy years. I did it for 5 years. Okay, for the first year, I've already gotten some important skills. But later on, looking backwards, I really connect these dots that such an activity, which is not connected directly with my work, helped me a lot to gain those skills. Just an example. Think about your example of what you've done somewhere outside of your job, outside of your team, and it's helping you afterwards here. So what I want to tell you here, if you're demanding something more, which is outside of this ultimate comfort zone, you need to do certain activities and look them outside of the team, look them outside of the job if needed. What will bring you there? First of all, you need to check what your employer expects, right? And then write the goals, take the actions, right? Get the approach and take the actions in order to achieve it. For sure you will achieve it if you start doing it. Obstacles that will hold you back from success. There are many of them, of course. First and foremost, it's the change versus the comfort zone. This never-ending story about the change and the fear of the change. If we stay in our comfort zone, though it's an ultimate comfort zone, I would say you can stay there till retirement. In most of the cases. You're still adding value, but it converges to a certain level. But if you stay in the comfort zone, looking at all these different graphics, and they're again kind of indicative, it's not like a market research, but definitely everything goes up and improves. So if we stay in the comfort zone, we're already going backwards. We will be outdated sooner or later. From our teammates, from the new generations, from the company that's being pushed from the industry and so on. So the only thing we can do is change. And think about where change is playing. Everything in our life is about change. Since the time we were born, We were always changing, learning new things. That's a change. We develop software. We create a new functionality. It's a change. You add one line of code, it's a change. You delete one line of code, it's a change. You fix a bug, it's a change. You introduce a bug, it's a change. It's all changes. Our life is about changes. We work to change. The companies exist to change. They want more customers, it's a change. They want more added value, it's a change. They want more money, it's a change. You help a customer by consulting that customer, it's a change. You change the state of the customer. You have a more happy customer. You eventually have more communication capabilities. So everything around us is a change, and as long as you embrace that and understand that change is inevitable, if you embrace the change, you'll be much more less scared from the change. You'll be able to work with that. There's one saying, I don't know if you've seen it, that the only creature in the world that likes change is a baby in a wet diapers. And therefore we say, or we can naturally continue, it's not that people don't like change, they don't like to be changed, right? Think about it. Therefore, I'm asking you and I'm encouraging you, think about, as long as everything is about change in our lives, how you can be more active and proactive during these changes rather than reactive. Because if you're reactive, you will be changed, definitely. And like it or not, this is happening. Next thing will be the environment. Friends and family will be pulling you down, or you'll be pulling you sideways. You'll hear, or probably hear a lot of things like, why you're so ambitious, why you're going in this direction, why a new company, it's very kind of scary or unsecured and whatsoever. So you will have these changes. Nowadays, there are lots of venture capital money, also in Bulgaria, having lots of startups. Second country in the European Union after Germany per number of startups per capita. Oh, we're a small company, so that's why per capita, a small country. So at the end of the day, you will see perhaps lots of people becoming entrepreneurs, and you have that pressure, hey, why not doing something about it? And I give you a short story. The word entrepreneur in Bulgarian, and if I translate it literally in English, that would be something like undertaker. So you are undertaker in your own careers. You are investing in your careers. You are investing in your future. So every one of us is an entrepreneur, more or less. Either you build a company, you follow your dream, or you build yourself and follow your dream. I'm not saying you should not be entrepreneurs, but I'm saying whatever you choose to work in the corporate world, it's still pretty similar. The generation. And since Aristotle times, every generation is kind of bashing on the next generations. Don't know if you've heard that. I would not do that much bashing. I like the next generations in general. But there are a few things which I believe are slowing the next generations down. And I start with a sort of a joke again. It's a bit general again. So if in the past it was never a kind of a question or never challenge or never we discuss it even, if we need to go extra miles, stay long hours after work, over the weekends to do something, to achieve a major milestone, deliver on the customer demands, go for an escalation. And again, I'm not saying this is not happening today. I'm just saying that these days, more often we discuss, hey, can I take a month off or 2 months off in the summer, travel the world? Sounds familiar? And this is okay. But, as some famous guys are saying, and I wouldn't mention the names, it's okay to take a day off, it's okay to go on vacation, but remember, somebody somewhere in this world is working during these days, and is getting skills, and is getting experience, and is coming to compete with you, either as a company, either as a personality, and you will be challenged. That's all I want to bring it as a message. Furthermore, we see a little bit less motivation in the new generations, a bit less of ambitions for career paths, to do more and so on. A little bit less to go for the extra mile. Nowadays, and when I speak to multiple companies, we have this challenge. We don't have much kind of volunteers to become managers or project managers these days. And there are lots of things to think about it and dig dive. Why is it the case? We don't know. They have certain levels. But I'm just saying that if we compare some 20 years and now, we have these differences. And this is what's pulling you down, because the principles are the same for success. They're not much changed. So the ones that would embrace and go for it will be eventually much more successful. So the biggest obstacle is you. So you will decide what you do, It's you that you can do the difference only if you're certain about it, you want to do it. You have the approach and what you want to do and how you want to do it, and you take the actions. Again, if the actions are not there, miracles are not happening, more or less. There is one more success factor for success that I'm missing here. As Einstein is defining success, would be 90% hard work, 10% luck. The luck is needed. A little bit of luck is needed. Sometimes you need to be in the right place at the right time. When the companies are growing, you have much more chances that you become a higher role. Teams are growing, either managers, project managers, architects, you name it, anything. If it's a stagnation or going down, shrinking, you would rather not have that many chances. So these are these lucky factors that still need to be there. I will kind of allow myself to bring that it's a hard but smart work. Because if you're hitting a wall, no matter how hard you hit, perhaps with a head, you'll not be able to break it. You go get a hammer. So more smart work into this. And the smart work will come from all the relevance. This is where you pick up what you need to do. What are your goals? Are you relevant? What's your explorer expecting? What's the industry expecting? How is the industry moving? And from there, you can pick up what you need to work on to create these smart goals and then do the smart work. And then a little bit of luck is always needed. Now, let's look at the future. Everything I'm saying is my view or my observations, right? So you can challenge that, you can bring your own stuff as well. One thing is constant, and you've heard that as well. The change is the only constant thing. As I said, it change is everywhere, and will continue this way. The future of work, there are tons of papers, articles, books, seminars, few days seminars about the future of work. I will not get into these details, but definitely how we work also in the software industry is changing a lot, and will be changed even more. It will be much less in the office, much more remote, much more freelancing than employed, because we go for the talent, and the talent might be just joining different projects in different companies. It will be all digital. It will be, I believe, much more creative work, and we will see in a minute why. There'll be more challenges, much more integration because of the existing products out there. So we're not inventing lots of stuff because it's already there. We need to invent the next level of how things work together. I hope it will be more fun as well. However, let's come back to this artificial intelligence. Are the robots going to take our work? By the way, who here wants to work? Initially, kind of nobody wanted to work, which I sort of liked it, right? But then some guys from SAP mostly started raising hands. Okay, isn't that our dream times? So we have robots, we have AI, machine learning, they do the work, we go party. And this might be one probable future. Might be a bit longer, 20 years from now, but it's a probable future. I don't know if this happens, if there'll be humans who will be like the Matrix, like the first versions of the Matrix, where we'll be totally depressed because we do nothing, or you just do the pleasure thing, and we will all collapse. I don't know, but okay, this might be one possible future. The 4 industrial revolutions, the 3 of them already passed, now in the 4th one. And I'm not getting too much into these details, just to outline it. The Industry 1.0, with the invention of the steam engine and how that changed the industries and how it changed the transportation and the creation of products and so on. The next industrial revolution with the mass production, with the production lines, with the electricity and all that, changed a lot the industry, changed a lot our lives, brought up products much cheaper. Nowadays, imagine what you can buy with few bucks versus was it that possible some 20, 30, 50 years ago. The 3rd revolution coming up with the robots and computers and the electronics changed a lot. Definitely hundreds of jobs were not available anymore. And they should not be because there's some automation out there. But hundreds of jobs were created either to operate these lines or either to kind of think out of the box and create the next value and the next value and the next value. Now we are in the 4th industrial revolution. Everything connected, everything digital. Machine learning and AI are everywhere. Human computer interfaces will be definitely implemented and implanted into this revolution. So we will about to see to the extreme this revolution will drive us to. But what I want to say that historically things changed, we people adapted. There were much more people. I'm not doing the study, but perhaps we added a few billion people in the meanwhile in these 100 years. And still, if you look around in various countries, especially in software industry, I'm not even touching it. It's everywhere we lack labor, we lack talent. There are not people enough to work on the demands. So, reiterating a little bit even much more in the past than what I mentioned with this revolution. So we were not stronger than animals, right? But we were smarter than them. So we leveraged them in many, many centuries back in order to help us out in labor, in transportation, you name it. We were not as efficient as the machines we're creating. We are not as faster as the cars we have, but we've invented them. And we are leveraging. We've invented all that in order to be useful for us humans. So why are we afraid of them? We should not be afraid, and so far we are not, right? We leverage all these good assets that we, with our creativity and our innovation, brought to life. And why we should compare with them? We should not. We are the smarter guys. Now, we're not quicker than the machines on the computational power. You know, on the chess side, it's been long ago when humans cannot compare with computers on playing chess. Not even the game of Go, which was much more complex. You know, now it's beating up everybody, basically. But we developed the algorithms. This was our creativity. At the end of the day, we should not be, and what I'm going to be saying here, we should not compete with the machines and everything that we've created on their turf. That's why we've created it, to help us, because we cannot do it. So it's natural that it's more than us. We should be competing on our turf with everything we create. And that's creativity. This is what I believe will be the answer to all the questions and eventual fears. How eventually my job will be changed, how the world is being changed or will be changed, if what's coming up, either AI, machine learning, and anything on the Industry 4.0, which is into the boom at the moment. So AI will be influencing the industry, and remember these lines. Will be influencing the industries to change, to adopt new ways of working, new ways of doing things that were not so obvious in the past. From the industry, as we've been talking, will influence the companies in that industry. And the companies in that industry will influence whom? Us, the people in the companies. So remember about talking about change. So if we don't want to be changed and want to be embracing change, we should be looking carefully what's happening. Where is AI playing? What's happening as trends in the industry? Which these will not happen overnight. It will be like first adopters, first companies that will do something automatically. Some jobs will be gone. If we spot that trends, we can understand and foresee that these trends will become standards, meaning that the industry will need to change and adapt in order to survive with the competition, and therefore companies will adapt. And therefore, if we are ready and already foreseeing things and doing things, we'll be good to go. If not, we will be changed. That's inevitable. One picture. So this picture I took myself like 6 or 7 years ago was here in Sofia in front of a block entrance on the street, on the sidewalk. I don't know if, it's not manipulated picture, by the way, just kind of outline only what was on it. It's a tube monitor. And it was still relevant. I need to go back and see if it's still there. 6 years later, it's still relevant, but not for its original purpose. They use it now to grow flowers in it. I don't know why. Maybe somebody wanted to be creative. Somebody wanted to show where the innovation and the transformation and the world change with technology is going towards. I want to pull it out as a picture. Think about. Let's think about ourselves. If we are not getting the streams of the whole transformation that is happening in the world, considering everything that happens around artificial intelligence, machine learning, you name it, Internet of Things, and so on, and we're not adapting to that, we're not responding to that, we're not changing ourselves, improving ourselves, it will be sooner or later our teammates, our companies, or AI all together will put a big challenge on us as employees or us as entrepreneurs. So be relevant and stay relevant. That will be one big model that everybody needs to think about. My last words to you, and in Bulgarian it's very nice. I came up with this phrase and I use it with some universities and high schools already. I wish you mечтайте и дерзайте. For our non-Bulgarian friends, I have another word, right? I tried to translate it, but it still needed to keep the meaning. So I would say something like this: dream, scream, out of joy, out of pain, and just go do it. I wish you good luck. Thank you for coming, and thank you for staying.
Thank you very much, Rado.